Are you just getting started with your December daily or holiday projects? Well, me too. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you story number 1 from my 2021 December daily album, next on the Victoria Marie YouTube channel. Welcome back to the Victoria Marie YouTube channel, where I feature all things scrapbooking and crafting. If that's something you enjoy, make sure you hit the subscribe button when you do click the bell. That way you'll be notified each and every time a new video is posted. So I am just now getting into my December daily project. This is the 8th year that I'll be participating in this project. And this year I decided to take things slow, and I'm focusing on stories that matter, stories that are important to me during this time of the year, and other random musings. And so that's how I'm approaching this project. Some of these stories are not going to be based on my daily activities, but just things that I feel that I want to document this holiday season. For story number 1, I'm going to be using these pattern papers from the 2021 December daily kit. I'm also going to be using this felt number 1. I love the felt numbers that came with this kit, as well as a circle insert that was from a previous kit. I'm also using sort of a mix of what I purchased this year and a whole lot of what I purchased in previous years. So I have those layered die cuts as well as some chipboard stickers from the previous years. This one is new, the puffy letters. The stamp set is a super old stamp set from December daily, at least 5-6 years ago. I also have some of the chipboard stars from the previous year. This is some chipboard letters, as well as those tiny little wood veneer houses that have adhesive on the back, and some chipboard Christmas trees, I think that came with last year's kit. And then, of course, I have some little bitty bits and bobs I'm going to use to make charms with. Here are the photos in the journaling for this story. Story number 1 is called Like and Hate. I asked my family members what they enjoyed and what they disliked about the holiday season, and I thought it'd be really great to get their perspective to start out. Now, the photos in the journaling are all designed as a circle, so it can fit that circle template, although I realized that the circle template, I didn't have a second one of those that was from a previous kit, and I downloaded the PDF cut file for a similar circle template, but for whatever reason, my silhouette was not working and I couldn't do it. So I'm just going to have to manage with what I have. I'm going to come back to those photos here in just a second. I have this semicircle insert that did come with a previous kit. Again, I'm using materials not only from this year, but from last year. I have a bunch of December daily products, and it was really important to me that I used a bunch of those things from previous years along with this year. I didn't buy a whole lot this year. What I did was I took one of the pattern papers from this year's kit, backed it on that insert in the back. I'm going to place my felt number on the back. You're going to see that in a second. I'm going to use the semicircle kind of as an entry point into the album. Normally, I would write something like my reason why. That's typically how Allie Edwards, who is the designer of this, the originator of this project, starts out her December daily albums, is talking about her reason why. Why is she doing this project? What is she hoping to really key in on and hone in on for the holiday season? I decided to skip that entirely because I just wasn't feeling it this year, and went ahead and started with what we like and what we dislike about the holiday season. So I'm going to take this semicircle insert. Notice that it already has the holes in it, backed it with that pattern paper. I repunched the holes. And now what I'm doing is I'm taking some of the newer layered embellishments that came with the 2021 kit, and I'm trying to use all of these up. In fact, I think I do use all of them, not on this one, but just in general. And I did sort of this layered spray of the poinsettias as well as the oranges. I think that's a very fun element this year. I mentioned in a live recently that I used to get oranges and candy canes in a brown paper bag from my grandmother for the holiday. She would always give us that. And we talked during the live about other people having that same experience. So I thought that orange was fitting. I also wanted to use the chipboard star, but I didn't like the saying on it. But I remember I had this charm that was backed with adhesive that says December Stories. And I thought that is perfect with all the gold and the other little accents that I added to that cluster. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the circular template here, and I'm going to pop my photos inside the circles. But before I do that, I want to take this felt number 1. The felt numbers were available in the 2021 kit, and I decided to create a little charm using this metal rim tag that I purchased from a craft store. I'm also going to add this little sparkly star, and I want to say that was from last year's December daily. I can't remember, or I may have picked it up somewhere. I don't remember where I got that from. These little chipboard words are probably from last year as well, and I'm looking for a word to go there on that metal tag. I thought I was going to stamp something there, but I changed my mind. And I think that little word says holiday or something like that. I can't really see it on my viewer screen as I'm editing this video. I'm going to punch a hole in the little star. It turned out to be a tiny bit bigger than what I wanted, but I need it big enough to run that black and white twine. I got that at Michael's. And I'm just going to thread that through the hole of that metal rim tag as well as the little star. Had to do a little bit of maneuvering. I am horrible at tying bows, but I'm trying my best. So I went ahead and tied a bow, and I'm going to trim the tails using my fabric scissors. I find that that helps not to fray the ribbon so much. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and pop on that little chipboard using a tiny bit of my Bearly Art glue. And that's going to stay right there. And I created a cute little charm that I wrapped around that felt number 1. Now, you can totally make felt numbers on your own. You just have to grab some good felt from your craft and hobby store, order it online, and then trim it out to whatever element you want. And then, of course, you want to add some stitching around it. You can do that by hand or on a sewing machine. I like elements like this that already come put together because I'm called lazy. But I love the way that looks on that number 1. I love all the layering on the front of the semicircle. And we are good to go. Moving on. Now I'm going to deal with the photos that go along with the story. I again picked out some more pattern paper. Ali Edwards offered, I believe that's 10 by 8 size pattern paper. You can use it with the 10 by 8 album that she offered, or you can trim it down and use in whatever size. I'm also going to add a little bit of texture here. I have some cork left over from some substrates that I purchased in previous years. Of some glitter paper, corrugated paper, and that type of thing. And I love adding different textured elements to my December Daily album. So I'm taking a 2.5-inch punch. This is by EK Success. And I'm going to run that cork through that punch. Now you want to be careful when you do stuff like this, because if you use an element, a material that's too thick, it will ruin your punch or just won't go in your punch. This cork paper this cork material was thin enough for me to use with that punch. Now I'm going to use that same circular punch. I'm going to cut out my photos. Now I created these photos using a web-based platform called Canva. I know many of you have at least heard of it, if not used it. And this is a great way where you can use photo templates to create things like you see here. I also use the same template actually a circular template to add in my journaling as well as their text functions. It's super easy, more easy than Photoshop. So if you're looking for something, definitely check out Canva. I believe Ali Edwards did a Canva workshop, or a member of her design team did a Canva workshop that was really interesting. So if you want to learn how to use Canva so you can do things like this, make sure you check that out. I'm going to post a link to Ali's blog and her website. I believe that the Canva class was a part of her December Daily offering, but I can't remember. But anyway, go check that out. I'll make sure to post the link. Okay, so what I'm doing is getting the template ready so that I can go ahead and layer in my photos. And because I don't have a second template, I'm going to have to mimic this design on the back. I initially thought that I would just design and cut one from my silhouette, or see if Ali had this as a digital cut file. And for whatever reason, I didn't find this particular one, but I found one from last year that had more circles, or from this year that had more circles, and I thought I would use that, but my silhouette was acting crazy. So I decided, you know what, I don't have enough time to figure out and troubleshoot my silhouette. I'm just going to make this work. So as you can see, I adhered all my photos down so you can see them popping through the circles. I'm going to back that with this pattern paper, trim it up, and then the remaining circles that have the journaling on them, which is just basically quotes from my family members telling me what they like and don't like about the holidays, I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to the back of the template. So I'm going to trim off whatever excess was remaining from that pattern paper. And what I want to do here is line up the journaling so that it corresponds with the photo that's on the front of that template. Now I have a little bit too much white around the circles, so what I'm going to do is punch out that extra white around the circles with a 2-inch circle punch. There is a faint gray line, which I do want to keep. And this punch is just big enough so it allows me to keep the gray line, that faint gray line that's going around the journaling. Now I needed something to make that journaling pop because it of course is on white photo paper against the white pattern paper, and it just seemed like it faded. So I'm going to take a little bit what's left of the pattern paper I used for my semicircle and use that to mount the journaling on. Then I'm going to add in my cork circles as well, just to bring in some texture that's going to be the repetitive element for this particular spread. Once I have everything all set up, then I'm going to add some double-sided adhesive to the back of the cork, so that way it'll stay. And this double-sided adhesive is from scrapbook.com. And then for the circles that have the journaling, I'm going to add a little bit of foam so that those pop up. And I believe the foam that I use, it's really skinny. It's not very thick because I didn't want it to be too chunky. I know me and my December Daily albums, I might, decide that I want a really super interactive page and it's kind of chunky. So anytime that I have an opportunity just to use a little bit of foam, but not much, I'm going to keep it kind of simple so that I have enough room in my album for those little chunky elements that will probably come down the road. So there I am popping up that journaling, and then I am good to go. So next, what I want to do is go ahead, of course, and repunch those holes. I do have a hole puncher that's designed for the size of a page, those 6x6 pages with the 6 holes, but I was too lazy to go grab it. So a trusty little 1-hole punch works just fine. Now, I thought what I would do to kind of jazz up the front is create a row of embellishments. Now, I have a ton of embellishments between my older kits and this new kit, so I want to try to use a bunch of it up. Some of it's from the newer collection, like the little stockings. I decided not to use those, but the cork Christmas trees, I believe, are from a previous kit. That felt heart, I don't believe that's from this one. But the little metal hearts, probably from last year too. Maybe all these things were from last year. I can't even remember now because I mixed them all together. I'm also going to use the chipboard letters. Those did come in this year's kit. And I put love at the top circle and then hate at the bottom circle. And that will serve as my title. Once I have that all adhered, I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to add this leather heart that says this. I believe that did come in this year's collection, as well as the little house. I'm going to switch that out for a blue and green one because I thought that worked well with the teal green that's there at the top, also with the pattern paper as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get those adhered, adding a little bit of double-sided adhesive to that wood veneer house. There is a set that you can purchase to go along with your kit, and it's just, I couldn't pass those up. I love anything wood veneer textured. So I'm going to add that right onto that cork circle. This page will remain outside of the pocket, so I'll have a lot of spreads that are not inside pockets this year, which I really, really love. Okay, so here are the finished pages, the little semicircle, and of course the one with my family and our love-hate journaling, and I'm going to call story number 1 done. I love the way this came out. I love all these fantastic elements, and I'm really challenging myself to use what I have in my stash along with some of the things that I purchased this year. I didn't purchase a whole lot this year, to be honest with you, because I really, really am focused on using what I already have. In the next video, I will move on to story 2. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. When you do, click the bell, and that way you'll be notified every time I post a new video. I'll see you in the next one.